Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Kuilei Courageous Conversations. I'm Sheldon from Kapiolani Community College.
And I'm Alfie, the other half of the team of the Cooley Outreach team. Sheldon, we're on a roll. We have so many episodes we've been running, a lot of them with students, which, truth be told, I think those are the popular ones, and those are the ones that people actually listen to us. So for our listeners out there, thank you for keeping up with us. And we made a joke about this, galaxy-wide.
We're galaxy-wide.
We're galaxy-wide, whatever that means.
Multiverse-wide.
Multiverse-wide. Okay, we're kind of geeking out a little bit here.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So here we are, just to kind of date stamp it, we're in December 2023. Just completed the fall 2023 semester. Alfie, anything you can reflect on? Cool things happening?
Where did time go? I guess that's the thing. Everything was such a blur, and even for our guests, I'm sure they're probably thinking the same thing. Like going to school starting in August, and in a blink of an eye, we are here in December.
Oh,
yeah, it was so quick.
Was it like in so many days? It's 2024.
Basically,
as I look at my make-believe watch that doesn't exist on my wrist. Anyway.
Better make believe watch than watch that has no battery, but that's a different story. We won't get into that.
Speaking of superstars, so we talk about students. They are always the highlight of all these interviews because who wants to listen to us on a regular basis? It's the students who have amazing stories to share. I have to say, in the past, we've interviewed our campus leadership, our student leadership. And those are the popular ones.
Yes.
They always have really cool things to share, neat initiatives that they do. But Alfie, before we introduce these superstars, you had your hand in student life at one point.
Oh, yes. Many, many, many years ago, before my current position, working in outreach, I was actually with Student Life. So I was the guy running Student Life. So I'm very familiar with student activities, student congress, student publications. I have a soft spot for them. I love the student leaders, and I think they don't hear this as much. So student leaders out there, ever served, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time, because you're the ones that make the campus happening, and it was a struggle, but I'm sure we'll kind of dive into that with our interviews. So I'm excited actually for today's episode because it takes me back to my previous life many years ago. Many years ago. God.
But let's introduce our superstars. So today we have the team of our campus student congress, and rather than me rambling on and on, because who wants to listen to me, let's turn it over to the students. If you folks don't mind, well, let's first of all round of applause for our student congress that's in the room.
Yes. Sorry, we don't have sound effects, gang.
Sorry, low budget. That's as good as our sound effects. But if student congress, if you don't mind, maybe going around introducing yourself, maybe what major or degree you're pursuing or have completed, and maybe where you're from.
Oh, and can we also get their position within student congress?
Yes, your positions with student congress. That would be great. Okay. Whoever wants to start.
Hey, hi guys. Thank you so much for having us, first of all. My name is Kimberly Song. I am the current president at Student Congress at Kapiolani Community College. And I just graduated this semester actually from KCC with a liberal arts degree. I'm going to be transferring to Manoa and pursue psychology and communication. And I'm from Germany, an international student.
Hey guys, my name is Zach Gibson. I'm the vice president here at KCC. A little bit of background about me is before coming back to school, I was in the Army. I served for 8 years. And then my degree currently is biological engineering.
Hey guys, my name is Maria. I'm the communications officer, and I'm pursuing the hospitality in the travel agency side, and I'm from Brazil.
Hi everyone, my name is Ratana Kim. I'm a secretary from Kapiolani Community College. I'm liberal art major. I'm from Cambodia, half Vietnamese, half Cambodian. Thank you.
My name is Martino Koo. I'm treasurer for Student Congress. My degree is natural sciences with information technology, and I'm from Malaysia.
Super great. I mean, what a great mix of folks. But let me ask you folks this. Why student leadership? Why did you guys sign on?
Why does anyone do anything?
Question. Huh.
I'll speak for me. I think it was more along the lines of the opportunities that it presented. Yeah. Because there are a lot of great opportunities you get from being a student leader, as far as actually seeing how implementation of our ideas and student concerns kind of can spread across the campus and throughout the UH system. So I thought it was a great opportunity to continue growing in a professional setting, but also having those opportunities to actually put yourself out there and do some great stuff. And, you know, working with the team, I think we did some great stuff.
It's a fun time.
Yeah.
Also,
So if you-
personally
oh,
speaking too, I end up joining for more, like, to have more experience with the student body. It was my first semester at the school and I had really hard time finding people and friends. So with the student congress, it was really nice to have more opportunities to meet people and talk to them.
For me, I think it's get out of my comfort zone. I am introverted, so I want to get out and talk to people. So my first year here, I didn't know like any like student assistant job like exists. So like all I do like after class, I go back home. Like no friends at all. That's also during COVID too. That's why I joined.
For me, it was actually Kimberly who showed me Student Congress when Student Congress was doing elections first in spring, and they were looking for a treasurer. And I also had a friend who was the past treasurer, and he told me about the opportunities and experiences he had in Congress. And he spent 3 years with in Congress in Shannon, so I thought, why not give it a shot?
For me, it was so growing up, I would always be the friend who would stand up for their friends, who would be shy or would not have the confidence to talk up. And when I came here, I really wanted to try new things. And at Student Congress, we represent the student voice and we advocate for them. So I thought it's the perfect opportunity to learn leadership skills and work on really cool initiatives.
Okay, so we heard from Martino and kind of Kimberly a little bit. So my question is, how did you all become part of Student Congress? So we talked about the why you're doing it with the leadership, but I'm kind of curious to see, how did you all become involved with Student Congress?
Well, I can speak from so the past president, Micah, he actually talked to me a little bit about what they're working on and their initiatives. And right, I think it's only natural that you're kind of critical in some aspect of as far as what they're actually doing. So he explained to me the process of how they, I guess, implement the changes on campus.
So for me, it was also Micah, the past president that I talked to. And he introduced me to Shannon, our advisor for Student Congress. And I had a quick interview with her and she was super nice. So I felt much more confident in my decision to join. And then what we all have to do is fill out an application and basically say why we want to join Student Congress. And that is shared, will be shared with the student body in the annual Student Congress Spring Survey. And then the students have to vote on us. So we have to be voted into our positions.
Yeah. And with that, we need 10% of the student body to vote. So that's why it's very important for the spring surveys to be answered by our students.
Yeah, that's always been an interesting challenge to get more student voices out there. And I think COVID just added another layer of fun challenges to that. But you guys are making some great changes, and I really appreciate you all. Speaking of changes, I know you folks have done amazing things of changing the landscape of our campus. I think there's a lot of neat stuff that has been developed in the past, and it's because of the student voice. I think Alfie and I were talking before we went on air. I think it was the water filter system, right?
Mhm.
Wi-Fi, more Wi-Fi points. I think it was the mobile hotspots. Um,
Missing
that's
the
all
big
they
one though. Yeah, the UPass as well.
Mhm.
UPass. I mean,
That
the
was a
list could
huge, that
go
was a
on.
huge, yeah, that was amazing.
And then these are all very important stuff for our students, and it's because of students like you all that made it happen. Now, recently, if you all don't mind sharing, there's another huge initiative that you guys are taking on. Huge. And tell us about it because we want to know. We've heard great things, but we want to hear. I mean, we've sat in some of the campus meetings on what you guys are sharing as far as these big things. Let's hear it from you. What are some of what is the biggest thing you guys are moving on um, as a student congress team?
Okay, so we have a couple initiatives we've been focusing on this semester, but like you said, we have a very big one, our big baby that we're very excited about. So our biggest initiative is to lower summer tuition for all resident students at all UH community colleges, which is really a very big thing also for us. It could influence the lives of so many people for future generations in the entire state. And yeah, we've been focusing a lot on that one.
Yeah. And we can give a quick kind of rundown on the timeline as far as the events that sort of been happening, how this all took place. Because, this wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for the past executive teams who worked here as well. Because they were conducting surveys and they're looking back as far as 2018. But they noticed like there's financial aspects that students were voicing as a concern. So the last Student Congress executive team in 2022, they actually conducted their spring survey and they focused more on the financial obligations. And in specific, they looked at summer tuition fees. So, I just want to say like, it is a legacy project and it has been something that has been ongoing, and a lot of hard work and effort has been put into it from past and present.
And just to add some context for those who are listening, so for fall and spring, tuition per credit for residents is $131 per credit.
Correct.
Summer leaps up to $248 per credit. And so just for those listening and watching, that's where the push is. And you talk about some of the financial challenges when it comes to summer. Think of that dollar amount. So if you're charging per credit, one class is usually about 3 credits, 248 times how many, whatever, it gets really expensive. So anyway, sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to add some perspective because it adds to the amazing things, like you said, to this legacy project. And so, sorry, continue. Continue with your journey.
Yeah, no worries. I just want to, so you were correct about the rates. It's an increase of 90%, the difference between spring, fall, and the summer tuition. And those rates are the same at all community colleges, which is why we're doing this for all community colleges as well.
Yeah, and we're kind of hoping that, alleviating this kind of, I don't know, like difference between the two, we'll kind of avoid that summer melt, which is when we're noticing around 60% of the enrolled students, they won't come back after fall semester.
After summer.
Oh, yeah, after the summer semester, break. Yeah. So between spring and fall, we tend to see that there's a drop off. And, one of the ideas that we're kind of running with is that it could possibly be because they don't have this continuous like cycle, staying in habit of keeping up with grades and school, and because it is a lot of habit building that you need for this for graduating college. Yeah.
So this is a huge sorry, go ahead, Alfie.
No, go ahead. No, okay. So this is a huge thing, huge thing basically. Can you explain the process of how it's gotten to this point? Because you draft a bill or a resolution, and what happens next? What are the next steps to have this officially implemented as part of the system?
Okay, maybe let's talk about the biggest steps, like the biggest points that we've been working on specifically this semester. So I think, what did we start with? We started by
spring survey. and
Spring
we were
survey.
looking at like initiatives that we wanted to push for this semester. So we were finding areas in which students were struggling in our spring survey. And we found like students were missing a lot of meals throughout the week because of financial issues. Students were like unable to get to school because of financial issues. Not every student has a car, and we do have the U-Pass, but as well, there are students like our past president lived 3 hours away from the campus on bus, and I used to live 2 hours away. So there are a lot of financial struggles that students face in community colleges. So we're trying to find just initiatives.
We
To
also
battle
found,
that.
oh, sorry.
No
We
worries.
also found out that a lot of our students were working or part-time or even full-time, most of them. So we know that there is a financial need of like paying for the school. And it's hard because if you're full-time, but you're also full-time student, you don't really have that much time available.
Yeah, and kind of some of the numbers on what they're mentioning. It was looking at 33% of the student body was missing at least one meal a week, due solely to financial reasons. And of that 33%, half of them were missing 3 meals or more per week. So it was one of the major issues that we brought in front of the chancellor, so that way they can help us in creating plans of action, which they did promptly. You know, they brought a bunch of different food options on campus to hopefully alleviate that stress on these students, more affordable options. And that includes like bringing more food trucks on campus, more food options in the bookstore. And then they also brought the bentos from down in the parking lot in the cafeteria, just so it's more accessible to everybody.
And we have free pancakes every Tuesday morning.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right.
Very cool.
And I think also the food pantry available here at KCC is also implementing more ideas because they also know the students are having problems with food. So they just introduced a new like snack shop that you can join. And every Thursday they have the food pantry that you can sign up to.
Yeah. So we basically gathered all this data and noticed that all our students are struggling mainly with financial issues. And then we reached out to all the student governments from all the other community colleges and kind of talked story with them and introduced them to the summer tuition initiative, since we kind of carried it on from the past semester. And then I think the next big thing that happened was we got the chance to present in front of the community college chancellors. So we gathered all our data and presented it to them. And actually, one thing we did for that was we conducted video interviews with students at all community colleges. And Maria made a beautiful video of it, 10 minutes. And we showed it to the chancellors. It was very impressive to actually see the faces behind those numbers and hear their stories. Do you want to share anything?
What was their reaction?
That was usually the chancellor's
What
reaction.
was there?
Oh, the chancellor's reaction?
Yeah, when you showed that video, what was that like?
Okay, I want to say, you know, I think maybe they were impressed in the work and data that we were able to collect. But I don't necessarily think that it was something they weren't 100% aware of.
Yes.
I think the main issue is trying to find those potential offsets,
Exactly.
because what we are requesting does, right, it does put some of a burden on the financial aspect for these campuses. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually the chancellors, so all of them were aware of this issue of how high summer tuition is. But actually everyone paid attention when we played the video in the end of the presentation, because everyone probably also wanted to see their own campus voice being represented and seeing their own students.
Oh, because yeah, so we went to every community college. We at least put one student for every community college, so we could show them that every community college is going through the same problems. And yeah.
So as a stronger collective voice, how did that make you folks feel? I mean, was this a also legacy project at the other community colleges, or was it something you guys led the charge in and brought all the voices to the surface?
I see. Yeah, so I think the past executive team, they did a very good job at collecting the voices from the other student bodies. And they did have notes on that we were able to look through to kind of see what the other student voices from these different campuses were saying, yeah. But then to follow up with that, we did reach out to all the other community colleges and we re-engaged with them to see if this was still a concern on their campus.
Yeah. So this initiative is spearheaded by our student congress at KCC, Kapiolani Community College, but we did try to collaborate from the beginning with all the student governments. It's just very difficult because they're on different islands and we have to set up Zoom meetings and then they have new teams, or I don't know, it's really difficult to align our schedules, but
or the teams are also not filled because that was student congress for other community college that had one person.
Yeah.
So it was really hard.
But we also did travel to other colleges like HCC and
Windward
to meet their student leaders and to like learn about their struggles and share our own struggles.
Yeah.
Or not just like students, but also in administration. Because other community colleges, like other student leaders also faced problems with administration to help their students.
Yeah, and I think that we also have a very special community here at Kapiolani. As far as we're able to talk to our administrators pretty openly, as far as just scheduling the meetings, and they'll sit down and listen to us, and it's really rewarding because we see that they actually care and they actually implement things that are about the student concerns.
And they keep us in the loop.
Yeah, and we kind of felt that it was special because other campuses voiced different concerns that they weren't necessarily able to go through the same pipelines that we were.
Yeah, I also want to add, like, we're very lucky, like, that we have this great community that we can talk to all the administrators. For instance, one thing I didn't know was special for us is, for example, that we have those one-on-one meetings with the chancellor each month, where student congress or the president can talk to the chancellor and has the chance to talk to them, or we can always schedule meetings and we have so many opportunities to talk to them, which is really not common, it seems like, at the other colleges.
Some community colleges, I don't think they've ever met their chancellor.
Yeah, they haven't even met their chancellor.
And I think that also stems down to us having an amazing advisor.
Yes.
Right? Like, because we love her. Because during the summer, before we even started working on like actual initiatives, the first thing we did was executive training. Yeah. So she kind of gave a good foundation of like, hey, these are kind of the resources around campus. This is what you can go talk to them about. And this is kind of how you should frame it, right? So I think she gave us a lot of tangible skills that we could take on with us.
I actually feel like we're drifting off a bit. You were asking for our proposal, right? So okay.
No, this is a great lead up though, because all that background information helps with the initiatives that you are implementing at the moment.
Yeah.
And so continue on, please.
Okay, so after our chancellor's meeting, so I think we were hoping we actually had the hope that if we present to the chancellors, they're going to help us find the solution and then it's going to be fine, basically. Or that we will really, find a way finally. But it didn't go as planned, or the chancellors, really their concern was, how do we offset the cost? And no one had an answer. So we're kind of lost. But then we actually had the Chancellor Misaki reached out to us, and that was she invited us to a breakfast with 2 representatives from the government who wanted to talk to a group of students. So we found a group of students who'd come to the breakfast, including us. And at that breakfast, we brought up summer tuition to those 2 representatives. It was Amy Peruso and Lisa Martin. And then they were very interested in our initiative and in our data. So we followed up with them and scheduled another meeting. And do you want to continue? Does anyone want to continue?
Yeah. Yeah, so we sent them up the information and the data, right? Because they just seem very concerned about what we're speaking to them about. They proposed that we should come to the next caucus for it's called the Keiki Caucus. And although it is right as the name implies, involving around children, we kind of saw connections between how our initiative would help the children throughout Hawaii. So we sent them a bill proposal, and then on December 1st, we actually went to the state capitol to present. So that's where we kind of got to like share our insights and what our beliefs were as far as how this can help other initiatives that they're working on. And you know, some of those other initiatives are like the 25 or 55 by 25, which is a hopes that 55% of Hawaiian citizens will have their post-secondary degrees. And we kind of saw like, okay, well, if that's something that, you know, they're focusing on is a concern, then maybe this is something that can also fit in. And it was also aspects as far as like childhood development, you know, as far as how these financial stressors are affecting children as they're growing up. And it was areas like developmental dyslexia and a lot of other, I don't know, I guess like they kind of all attach together.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
They kind of work
I
together.
think something that moved like the representatives was one of our students who were at the breakfast. They were their parents with children working through college with their own financial struggles. So you know, it's affecting children in the sense that these are people going to education and children who are like affected by their parents going to education and having financial struggles.
Yeah. And as far as numbers go, in case anyone's interested, the reason why the representatives thought that this was such a like an avenue that we should pursue is because the offset that we're looking at is around 3.5 million from what we were told. Yeah.
Annually
Annually, yes.
at all community colleges.
Yeah, so it's not just for KCC, across all 7 community colleges, a 3.5 million offset from the government would
Alleviate.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
So hopefully make it more of a possibility. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's kind of the main reason why, after meeting with the chancellors and hearing about their concerns, is why we brought it to the representatives.
Yeah. They were very interested in it and very supportive. And we're very glad they gave us the opportunity to present.
So hold on to that thought because, again, to give more context to the listeners, as someone who had to submit testimonials in the past on certain bills, and correct me if I'm wrong, like I was super nervous going to the state capitol. Super, like, I thought I was going to explode. And then when you walk into the room, you see all these faces looking at you and you have to make your case. And you are competing against other bills that are presented from other people, very worthy bills. And I'm going in thinking, how is mine worthy, or how do I get to help support this cause amongst all these other very worthy causes as well? And so if you could, on a scale of 1 to 10, like where was your anxiety level when you stepped foot at the state capitol? 10 being like, I'm busting out of my skin anxiety, to 0, I was pretty calm. What would you say, scale of 1 to 10? What was that day like?
They're like a 9.
Wow. Yeah.
Pretty high. Because we were like, so Zach and I presented the proposal. And we were so nervous, but also we were so confident about this. And we were also in the groove of presenting this already all the time, every once in a while to different people, that we felt very confident in what we were talking about. But we also knew what is at stake. Like we knew how important this is to us and others. And yeah, oh, I get goosebumps thinking about it. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely intimidating when you walk in, right? Because you're sitting at a long wooden table. Across from you are these representatives.
Sitting on one side and others on the other.
And then behind you, you know, you have a giant group of chairs, probably like an additional 40 people who are also there. And these are doctors, you know, these are people who are the creators of foundations. So it is a lot of pressure, but I think we kind of live, breathe what we're working on. So a lot of stuff that we had to talk about, or the questions that were asked from of us, it kind of came like natural, I want to say, because like we know this stuff, and so although yes, definitely nervous, I think also excited. It's also a nice chance to kind of be like, hey, we know our stuff, this is what we got.
I think we were also the youngest, probably, with the representative from the youth summit who were presenting.
And I think one thing that also helped make us stand out, right, is we didn't have like a script that we were going off of, we were just there to present what we know, what we understand, and we're very confident in the hard work that we were doing. So I think that definitely helped kind of maybe separate us from the competition.
Yeah, I just want to say, so the other ones had like speeches wrote out, or they were like super well prepared, and we kind of talked very freely about it. We were two students just sitting there and kind of talking story to them, which was a little funny. I don't think we were as professional as some of the others, but we still did a good job. So it was really exciting.
I think there's a difference between maybe being professional and being authentic. So I have a feeling you guys were authentic. And
they probably see how passionate they were about the subject as well. So like once you're passionate about something, you really believe in it, then this thing should come easy to you. So you're there at Keiki Caucus, you do your presentation, that 9 probably starts going down to maybe 1, and then you're on your way home. And this is funny because Sheldon and I get a text message from your advisor. And which is why we're here. But I can imagine y'all probably got an email or a call. And what was that email? What was that call about? And what was your first reaction?
Oh my goodness.
I feel like at the beginning, before we got the answer, we were so nervous. We didn't know when they were gonna reply to us. Like some of us were like, oh yeah, this week they're gonna reply.
And then they didn't.
They didn't. And they were like, oh, did we not pass? And like we were so nervous with that.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Anticipation.
The anticipation was the worst.
And one evening we were sitting in the student center just working on things, and then all of a sudden Ratana came to us and was like, guys, we just got this email. Our bill got selected for the Keiki Caucus bill package. And I was just screaming. We were so happy.
Y'all jumping.
We made it. It was so exciting.
So on December 13, 6:48 p.m., Alfred gets his text basically saying they are over the moon.
Yes.
So take us to that time.
We immediately called Shannon. We had to share with her. She was sitting in a concert of her little, I don't know, her little nephew or someone was there, and we heard the audience in the background, but she was so happy for us, and she was also
wheeled in excitement.
Yeah. It was really cool.
Yeah, I can say it's definitely right, cheek to cheek smiles, like it is a very exciting time.
Yeah,
because when we did it, like there's 17 other people who presented, so it did seem a bit daunting as far as like, okay, well, is this actually going to get picked up? And then I don't know, like I think just a huge sigh of relief, and then it's great.
All the hard work did mean nothing.
Yeah. And also, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's just also good to know that it was important for other people to like see that what we're doing is like actually important. Like we know it is important, but we want to spread the word for other people to understand how this needs to change too.
Yes. And I also want to add another reason why we didn't know if our bill is going to be selected was that they said that at the Keiki Caucus there were a couple bills that were already presented a couple times. They come back every year because their bill didn't get selected, and all of them were so strong. So we had really high competition. So I'm even happier now that we actually got selected first try.
Well, I think our bill is the first one for UA Community College undergrad that got selected, like the first time ever.
Yes.
Happy for that.
Yeah.
So there's just multiple levels of coolness then happening. I mean,
Yes.
but you talk about, I mean, you kind of mentioned that you're speaking from the heart, which I truly believe, very authentic. But as far as preparation, as you're saying, you use the word legacy. This is like years in the making. And then here your folks at the platform just kind of making it happen. So what now? You got the approval from the caucus. What now?
That's a good question. I also want to say part of the sharing too, we did let the past executive team know as soon as we found out too, and they're also equally thrilled.
Yeah.
Yeah, so since the caucus meeting, we actually had an additional meeting
Before that,
well with Mike.
Mike Unit Basami.
Yeah, did you want to talk about that or
Sure.
Yeah, Mike's the big dog. So how did that go?
Yes. So maybe first of all, for everyone who's listening, so now that our bill got selected, that doesn't mean it's our proposal got selected, doesn't mean it's already a bill, and it doesn't mean it's approved already. It still has to go through this whole process of this whole bill process. So that's going to take a while. So we will see if our proposal will become a bill, hopefully.
we're gonna know in March-ish, right?
I believe
That's the
so.
timeline I think we're given.
But I also heard there are a couple bills or some bill processes take a long time, like a couple of years. So I'm actually not quite sure when we will have a result, but
Yeah, because although they are willing to listen to it, I know that they are going to have to be working with the Board of Regents to kind of see
Yes.
how they can integrate this together. So although we may have a little bit of offhands at this point, I still think that there's follow-up that we can do as far as just kind of seeing where everyone's at.
Yeah.
And part of like that Board of Regents meeting, I think it is important because we did meet with Mike Basami.
Unibasami.
And he kind of shared us like, the perception as far as higher ups go. Like, okay, well, what kind of data are we getting? And is this the data that's needed for chancellors to, come up with these alternative measures? So I guess it kind of falls two ways. If we're still going through the government side, that would just consist of lobbying. So we have been going to our student caucus meetings, and what these are is when all the student governments from every other campus meets together. So we're able to share our initiative and kind of what we think, like collaborating what we think the best approach is. And that's going to be them reaching out to their representatives, just so they can kind of like get in the loop of things and provide that additional support moving forward.
Yeah. So Mike Unibasami is the financial guy for all the community colleges. He's in charge. So we met up with him because we also want to look at an internal solution for this initiative, because in the end it doesn't matter where the money comes from. Doesn't matter if we get it from the state or from within the UH system. We just want to find a solution. So yeah, while we're waiting on the result of our proposal, we are exploring those ways internally. So we met up with Mike Unibasami. He gave us a couple. He's in support of this, which is really amazing. He gave us great insight, and I think we're working now on working more closely with the other community colleges again to gather more data again. And then I believe we will possibly present to the chancellors again, to the community college chancellors.
Yes, because the way it was explained to us is it's more of a campus, individual campuses need to find the solutions within themselves because of how the financials is split up.
Yes.
Yeah, because every campus will be a little bit different as far as who their actual enrolled students are. Like, for example, at Kapiolani Community College, the majority of our students are international, So the summer tuition, I'm not sure if it actually affects them in the same way as it does for resident students.
Yeah. And then, for example, I believe at KCC, we have the culinary arts department, which gets a little more money than at other community colleges, but then other CCs have other special programs again that receive a little more money. So we have to make an individual overview for every community college.
So you guys are getting firsthand exposure of what it takes to get into the weeds. Like once you start getting into the dollars and cents, it's a whole nother beast. But I know some of you folks are cycling off, and that's just because of how the community colleges work. You move on to do great things. And it's neat how, as a collective, like a UHCC collective, you're bringing everyone together to keep the momentum going. With this platform that you have here, like Alfie shared in the beginning, we want to do our very best to support you folks. Like, how, in our capacity, can we help get your message out so this momentum does not slow down? Like, what can we do, or what can the campus do to keep this going? Because sounds like you guys are putting in a lot of work. You guys did a lot of research, and it sounds like it's going to take a lot of reminding people like, hey, there's this thing that went through, reminding our leaders saying, hey, we had the discussion. And much like the bill, they probably have a laundry list of other initiatives that they have to address on their campus level. But what can we do to help keep that message going?
Rinsing data that we share, like summer credit being like 90% more than the fall and spring credit on its own is like wow, right? Like how can that be? And on top of that, when we have the summer melt where like 60% of students who start in spring don't do summer, they won't continue in fall. That is a big percentage of students who don't continue their education and they never come back.
Yeah, so I think the advocacy is definitely a great one. I think another maybe not a spoken one is salaries, right? So just for full transparency, we're the only student congress or student body amongst the 7 colleges who actually get paid on an hourly basis. And the reason why I think this is very important is because when we look at the reason why like a lot of these other student bodies aren't being filled, we can kind of maybe make an assumption that it could be due to financial obligations, right? Like, because even in our position, I think we can all go to Waikiki or go out to a lot of the retail stores and get paid more per hour. So I guess it kind of, I think it limits the amount of people who are able to take this opportunity and spread this concern.
I think in other community colleges, they don't get the same opportunities and like support and development that we do. Like Shannon is a great advisor, but she's done probably, I'd say like half of our development in Student Congress to help us guide us through all like the trials and tribulations. But other community colleges, they're kind of on their own, like with student leadership.
So it sounds like to keep the momentum going is making sure all your counterparts have advocates. Like you are advocating for our students. Seems like a lot of these student leaders need someone to advocate for them as well.
Yeah, definitely. I would also say in general, I think awareness is a very good keyword for this. I think people just have to be aware how this is affecting students. People have to be aware that this is an issue that is affecting all students, not only at KCC. And also, more importantly, that we actually have the power to make a change. Like this semester has shown how far we have gotten, and we're only students. And we have gone to the Capitol and presented our proposal, which is really exciting. I think oftentimes students don't think they have issues, but they don't think they can bring it up because it's not gonna change anything. But I think we proved that we can change something and that we are changing something and we are actually in the process. So I think if people are aware and just share this information and just support us with this initiative, that would be the best, I think.
And, what Sheldon mentioned earlier with the cycling off and keeping the momentum. You know, I know there's probably some students out there who are kind of on the fence, like they really want to get involved and help contribute to student life, but they're kind of hesitant. So, with that said, what words of encouragement or like what's your pitch to them to help you join this amazing group that you have?
Take all opportunities, just very simple, I think. So I personally have grown the most when I step out of my comfort zone and I take unique opportunities. And that is why I'm here. So, or like in Hawaii, why I'm here in Hawaii in general in the first place. So I think just students just take the chance. If you have the opportunity, take it. You will not regret it. You will learn something no matter what.
Also, do not worry if you don't feel like you have the skills for the position, because you learn the skills as you're doing the position, right? So never have that as like a prerequisite that, oh, I already have to know how to do this stuff. Like, no, you come, you learn as you go, you make mistakes, all of us do. But that's how you grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's better to walk your own path than listen to somebody else's, even if it means you make mistakes.
And if you hit blockades, that doesn't mean like the initiative is over. Because there were many times with the summer tuition where we thought like, oh, we can go up to this person, right? This is like the highest of the high, and if it doesn't work out, then it's kind of shut down. But things change. Amy Peruso.
Yeah, that's like how we felt when we had the presentation for the chancellors. When it kind of didn't move forward, we were like, okay, does this mean it's done? And we were like super bummed and everything. And then we met with Peruso and she gave us another opportunity. So it was really nice to see that there is other ways that we don't see right now, but that it will help us.
Yeah. So a little bit of luck, a little bit of optimism.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be afraid of just shooting your shot, I guess.
We're gonna cue the Hamilton musical. Not gonna waste my shot. But anyways.
So any other words of advice for students out there? I know it's tough to get students involved. We're trying to get people back in person in this platform that we have. Anything you want to share to not only our current student body, but maybe prospective students out there? And to the point of what you folks said about worried about experience, what I gather from even the start of this whole conversation, and even reading some of the articles that are in our newspaper, Kapil News, I think the thing that can't be taught is the passion you folks all have. I think when you enter this arena, if you have that sort of willingness to take risks for your students, I think you guys use the word comfort zone, willing to push out of your comfort zone for the betterment of yourself and your student body. Sounds to me that's huge right there. Like you said, all the other stuff Shannon can piece together, kind of guide you into the right direction. But I think I believe I can speak for Shannon, the fact that you have this passion, this willingness to serve and to just put everything out there for the betterment of the students. I think that's number one. But sorry, final words of advice and support for, again, our students out there, prospective students, anything you can share.
I have some advice that I think is very important for leaders of any variety. Yeah. If you have something that you're passionate about and that you care about, don't expect other people to feel the same way, but just understand why it's important to you and why you're doing it. Right? Don't seek approval from outside sources and follow what you feel is important to you as far as your spirituality or moralities or whatever's going to make you happy in life. Yeah. Because it is a lot of hard work, but I feel like at the end of it, I mean, you always feel great about it, win or lose, it's an opportunity that you got to learn from.
Well said. Yep.
Zach the Wise.
Zach the Wise. Well, thank you so much for making the time. Again, I'm going to date Staffman because it was finals last week. I mean, officially, you guys are on winter break, but here you folks are. I mean, that in itself, I mean, just your commitment to getting your voices out means a lot to us, means a lot to the campus. Alfie, not to age you, but as the grandfather of student life, any
well,
words?
Well, I think this is such a huge testament to the type of students we have on campus and the impact that student leaders can have within campus. And, who knows students best than students themselves? So, I really appreciate, again, thank you. Like, I don't think you all hear it enough, but thank you for being student leaders. Thank you for your willingness to kind of do this. This is one of the things I miss, honestly, is this whole student leadership component kind of thing. So just hearing this is very inspirational. Actually, I got chicken skin, honestly, during this whole Talk Story session. It was such an amazing thing. And you guys are doing amazing work. I'm looking forward to what the next steps are. I think we talked about that. I'm not sure if Shannon ever mentioned this. You talked about the daffodil effect. Kind of plant these seeds, and then you're not going to see it necessarily, but the generations afterwards will see what y'all have been doing. But this is amazing stuff. So, and again, y'all are here during your winter break. I think that speaks volumes about your belief and your work ethic and just how passionate you are about this project. So thank you so much for taking the time to kind of be with us. And the grandfather has spoken.
The grandfather has spoken.
Also, thank you so much to you two guys again. We really appreciate that you give us this opportunity to make our voices heard again. I think this also shows again how great our community is, that we even get this opportunity to share our story. It's really great. So thank you so much.
It was our honor and pleasure. Thank you to all the listeners. Happy holidays, and I guess we'll see everyone, oh my gosh, in 2024.
I know. See you next year. See you next year. Holy smokes.
Take care, everyone.
Like,
Happy holidays.